The next thing we're going to cover is going to include some math here, but we're going to go over aggregate functions in SQL. Aggregate functions in SQL allow us to do computations on top of a single column through every single row of a table. It's incredibly useful in data analytics where it allows us to calculate important metrics and gain insights from our data. So let's get into the first one. The first one is going to be count. Now, the count function allows us to count the number of rows depending on if it matches the condition that we give it. So now that we have our films table, let's say we wanted to count the amount of films if we don't know how many are inside the table. Let's start the query here. So let's say select. Right after the select statement, we would say count. In the parentheses, we would count however many we want. But if I add an asterisk here, that's going to say count every single record inside of this table if it matches the condition I'm about to give it. So we're going to say count from films table. So again, this is selecting the number of records within this condition here, and what we give it is an asterisk for all from the films. And what this should give me back is the number 20 because we have 20 rows inside this column. So just remember, within this parentheses here is going to be the condition. Depending on what that condition is, it will spit back to you always a number depending on if it's true within that condition. And count is really useful for that. The next aggregate function we're going to look at is going to be the sum function. Now we would use sum to calculate the sum of all the numbers in a numeric column. So if we take a look here, we have a prices column. So now if we wanted to, let's say, calculate the sum of every single price in this column, we would say select sum. Inside the parentheses, we would say price because we want to use the price column from the films table. So now, if we look back at this, we're selecting the sum function is going to look into the price column and add up every single number value within it, and it will spit back to us the total sum of every single movie that we have inside this table. So if you were to have gone to every single one of these movies at this price, you would have spent $228.80. Now let's say we want to get the average of something inside of our table. Say, for example, we want the average user rating of movies in this table. Well, that's where the average statement or the average function comes in. It's going to look the exact same as the sum function. So we're going to say select, but instead of sum, we're going to say average or AVG. And inside the parentheses, we're going to enter in the column that we want to take a look at, which is going to be user underscore rating. Close the parentheses there. And then we're going to say from the films table. And that then gives us an average of every single user rating that the movies have, which is going to be 4.6. And lastly, one of the more useful ones is going to be max and min. Max and min are used to find the highest and lowest numeric value within a column. So let's look at our price column again. If we wanted to get the lowest and the highest values in the prices column, our query would look something like select, and then we would say max. Inside the max column, our condition would be the column we want. So we want price. We're going to add a comma here, and we're going to say min, again, parentheses, and looking at the prices column from the films table. Now, if I hit enter here, we're going to see the max value here was $14.99 and the minimum was $7.99. So the cheapest movie out here that was in the table was $7.99 and the max was $14.99. So very helpful to sift through a big table if you're just trying to find the highest value and the lowest value.